Now, just to finish, let me come back now to Sandeep here, who's been pedalling away at sea level. So, Gwen, could I ask you to switch him over to a gas mixture, which is what he would find if he was at Everest Base Camp at 5,300 metres, and we'll see what happens. So this is Denny, who was on Everest earlier in the year. Denny, could you just talk us through the measurements you're making there?
What we see here, the blue line at the top, which corresponds to this number 97 or 96, is the amount of oxygen in Sandeep's blood. So it's 96%, so he's doing very well at the moment. Here in the green, which is this green line, is how many litres of air he's moving in and out of his lungs. And finally, up this end, the red number here and the red line on the graph is the rate his heart is moving at. So that's how many times his heart's beating in a minute. And what we expect to see, as he's exposed to this air with low oxygen, is, and you can see it here, his oxygen in the blood is starting to fall. This blue line is plummeting down.
And here we are, so he's looking, look at this now. Started at 96, we're already at 83. Look what's happened to his breathing rate. It's taken off and his heart rate is already picking up. So he's breathing hard, getting more oxygen in. His heart is flogging itself, trying to drive it around the body. This is what Sandeep did to adapt to being at Everest Base Camp. Now, I think before he goes navy blue, we should probably call a halt there. Thank you very much, Denny, for that. And thank you, Gwen. Sandeep, let's release you from your torture. Slightly sweaty and breathless Sandeep. Sandeep, how does that compare to being at Everest Base Camp in terms of breathlessness?
Oh, it's very similar. You are completely out of breath, but the difference is you're not just having to exercise to get out of breath, you're out of breath the whole time.
Okay, so you're aware of this increased breathing.
Absolutely.
And so we've been through this today, and you've just shown us very eloquently that the way you adapt is that you breathe harder, your heart pumps harder, your blood gets thicker if we've given you the time, you might even sprout some new blood vessels to increase the delivery of oxygen to the cells. Is that it? Have we got the answer?
I don't think it can be the complete answer, because there are lots of people who can't get to the summit of Everest, even if you give them lots of oxygen. So we think there's something else going on, probably in the mitochondria.
Right, and that's something that Denny and Sandeep went to the summit of Everest for earlier this year to try to work that out, because we don't understand. I've given you a good story about how Sandeep survives at altitude, but it's probably not the whole story, because one side of the coin might be that he's delivering more oxygen to the cells, breathing harder, heart working harder, blood getting thicker, more blood vessels. The alternative option is that somewhere along here, he's able to burn the fuel for less oxygen. So he needs less oxygen to drive this turbine. Now, that's the hypothesis. We have no idea if it's true, and many of you younger people in the audience here are the scientists of the future. In the next 10 years or so, maybe you'll come back and tell us what the answer is.